Hey everyone, it's me John again, and I'm here with a Geek and Dorks Reviews Extra. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you know that this week they released another trailer, and there are tons of people on YouTube doing trailer reviews, so I'm not going to do a pure Star Wars trailer review. However, if you've looked at my older videos, you will see that I was extremely critical of J.J. Abrams being given the directing job for Star Wars. And I've had certain viewers ask me for an update on that. They just want to see, where do I think it is now? How do I think it's going? Now that I've seen this new latest trailer, I can tell you I'm pretty excited. I think that they did some very important steps in terms of productions to make sure that this didn't fall into some of the typical JJ traps that especially that I was accusing him of in my earlier videos. For example, I was relying on multiverses to get him out of story issues, and relying on his same core writing team that was really getting tapped out in terms of their creativity. That includes Roberto Orci and his former writing partner, Kurtzman. Apparently those guys don't work together anymore. And if you might recall, when Star Trek III went into production, Roberto Orci was supposedly going to direct that based on his script for Star Trek III, and apparently Paramount did not like that script. Out went Roberto Orci. Now he's supposedly attached to it as a producer, but if you know about Hollywood, that might not mean that he's doing a whole lot tied directly to the production. All that being said, one of the best things they did for the Star Wars franchise was to bring on Lawrence Kasdan, who had a hand in writing, I believe, both Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. But I know for a fact Empire Strikes Back, which a lot of people consider one of the best Star Wars films that exists. Now, I am still trying to temper my excitement a bit because I went through the hype around Star Wars Episode 1. Do you guys remember that? I was actually working at 20th Century Fox at the time, so I was smack in the middle of the hype for Episode 1. As a matter of fact, at our local 20th Century Fox Christmas party, they were giving out Episode 1 posters. I remember seeing the trailers there, and my imagination just went, oh man, this is going to be so awesome. I bet they're going to have this, and they're going to have that, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. And then I went and sat down in the theater, and they did none of that. And I think that's where Star Wars Episode 7 has a bit of a benefit. For people that loved Episodes 4, 5, and 6, some of us kind of imagined ways that those characters came to be who they are. And I think that some of us maybe imagined that the way that we imagined it was a lot more interesting and better than the story they actually told when they brought out Episode 1, 2, and 3. Now that we're getting to something that is a true and pure sequel, it's clear of that mess. The expectations around it are completely different because it's extending the story forward. It's not trying to kind of re-engineer the struts of the previous stories that we love. That being said, there's a little bit of a hiccup in that there was a lot of people that became fans of the Star Wars fiction that already extended out that universe. But Disney and JJ did a very good job very early on, I think it's over a year ago now, where they announced that Star Wars 7 would have nothing to do with the extended canon done by all these authors. Personally, I still think they could have written into the extended canon and left all those works valid in the Star Wars universe, but they opted not to. Ultimately, that gives them more creative freedom for where they're going to take these stories. So hopefully they will do a good job with that. And with Lawrence Kasdan as part of the writing team, I'm sure they are. I remember actually seeing an interview with JJ where they were talking about some of the story development, and he said that there was some extremely heated conversations around that. I hope that Lawrence was the heat on those conversations, because as far as I see it, he is a major authority in terms of being able to tell great Star Wars stories. So I'm tempering my excitement. The only other thing I will say is I love Han Solo. Anyone that has seen my @LordandArts Twitter account, I literally have a picture of Han Solo on my Twitter account. It's been there the whole time I've had a Twitter account. That being said, there's been something about Harrison Ford reprising his old roles that has fallen flat for me. And I'm not just talking about Indiana Jones 4, though that is definitely a huge case in point, but I'm starting to see it in these trailers a little bit too. it just feels to me like the acting job he's doing is not getting back into those characters, that essentially he is just being whoever Harrison Ford is now. If we do look at Indiana Jones 4 as an example, most of the time it didn't feel like Indiana Jones to me. It felt like this old man kind of creaky and complaining, and Indiana Jones was a bit more positive and forceful than that. Han Solo, this dude he's snarky, he's quick-witted, he's a little bit sly, and I'm definitely not getting a sense of that from the trailer. Now, admittedly, the information we're getting from the trailers it's very small. I mean, I've only seen a few lines of dialogue from him. But that being said, there's something about those lines I'm seeing that they're missing some Han Solo punch for me. I hope and pray I am proven wrong when we get into the final product. And finally, as a last note about that, I think that whoever is responsible for editing these trailers is doing a fantastic job. We have no idea what these movies are about. We have seen a lot of great imagery that's coming out from these movies, but the trailers are not attempting to set our expectation about the story, and I think that's where Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3 went wrong. Those trailers were a bit more traditional, trying to give you kind of a taste of what you were coming in for. These new trailers are not about doing that at all. They are very much about showing you some of the visual elements, showing off some of the actors, showing off some of the special effects, and then they get out. They're really not showing us anything about the story narrative. There are tons of YouTube videos where people are just theorizing about what the story narrative could be from these little clips that we're getting. So I think they're doing a bang up job on that. So all in all, I think JJ has a great eye. The visuals are looking good in this film. Admittedly, I think even his own wife complained about the job that he did on Star Trek 1. She told him that she really couldn't see the film through all the lens flare stuff that was happening, which he caught a lot of flack for, hopefully learned a great lesson from. From the visuals I'm seeing here, it looks like he's doing a good job. If him and Lawrence worked out a great story, we are all in for a treat. And even outside of all that, I can tell you this thing's already selling like hotcakes. I checked out movietickets.com yesterday, and I think it said 44% of all ticket sales that were happening on that day were going to Star Wars. So we know it's going to be popular. I just hope that it is popular and done in a way that really expands this universe out respectfully, gives us all some moments that we've been waiting for a very long time, and sets this thing up to have legs into the future so we can have more great Star Wars movies and enjoy them. So that's my update. Star Trek 3, that's in a whole other boat right now. Maybe I'll do a video on that next week. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you later on the Geek and Dorks Network. Have a great day.